Hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the Mick Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. I'm your co-host, Mike McRock Wilson, and last night was NXT from the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. The show kicked off last night with a one-on-one match between Alexander Rusev and Kofi Kingston, and I like these type of matches where you have that one guy who's a high flyer and he's in there with this dominant force, and those two combinations really mesh well with each other, and I think they established that in their match. Alexander Rusev put on a good performance as well as Kofi Kingston. The one thing that struck me as odd, though, is before Alexander won the match, Lana came up and helped out Alexander Rusev. Now, she didn't physically take down Kofi Kingston, but it was there. The interference was there when Lana cost Kofi Kingston the match. And I'll use this as an example. Last Thursday night on TNA, we saw that match between Lady Tapa and ODB where Gail Kim interfered in that match, and that made Lady Tapa less of a monster, because you want to establish your monsters as monsters, and when you have someone in their corner interfere, it just really doesn't, it just makes them look weak, I think, in my opinion. And that's what NXT done with Alexander Rusev. This is the first time I actually seen this happen with the Bulgarian Brute, which is a good nickname, by the way. And it just, like I said, struck me as odd that they had to resort to an interference for the win. I would rather see Alexander Rusev win clean over an established superstar like Kofi Kingston, because it shows how dominant and not weak. He's a strong 300-pound massive big guy, so having someone interfere just makes them look very weak, I think, in my opinion. Moving on, we saw a backstage segment with Sylvester Lefort, and he's looking for a new client, and out comes this guy who has a chain around his neck, and he says, "I'm here to audition to be a new client," and then Lefort said, "No, you're too fat, go away." And then Mason Ryan comes in, and he's wondering what's going on, and Lefort said, "I'm looking for a new client. You want to become a new client? You look really good." And Lefort shows him the money, and he says, "Now you can make the money with me." And Mason Ryan declines, and he takes the dollar bill and shoves it right down and he shoves it down Sylvester Lefort's mouth, reminiscent of Ted DiBiase back in the old days, you know. But anyway, shortly after that, we saw a match between Tyler Breeze and Mason Ryan, where Tyler Breeze won that match, because what happened was, right at the very beginning, Sylvester Lefort showed up, and he never really done anything at all. And then all of a sudden, Mason Ryan, while he's wrestling with Tyler Breeze, goes out of the ring and takes out Sylvester Lefort, and he never really done anything. So I thought that was really interesting. Maybe he's trying to be one step ahead of the bad guy. It's understandable, because the bad guy is always one step ahead. And then when Mason Ryan went back in, Tyler Breeze just hit his beauty shot and pinned him 1, 2, 3. All it was a jobber squash match. It never really done anything for me, other than that, they left that little thing open with Mason Ryan and Sylvester Lefort. I think it's time for Mason Ryan to be involved in a feud with someone on NXT to establish him as a babyface and help him move on, hopefully, in hopes to get on Raw and SmackDown. That's what I hope to see with Mason Ryan. Also on the show, we saw a number 1 contenders match for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, it was Emma versus Natalya, and even though this was very one-sided, this was actually a good wrestling match, and a lot of it was a lot of submission holds. There was one part in the match where Natalya applied this submission hold where she crossed Emma's arms and bent her legs and bended her backwards, and it was like, oh, it was so innovative and so cool. I was wondering if Emma was going to tap there. Obviously, it wasn't going to happen. And like I said, it was a one-sided match. It was still a good wrestling match when it came to submission holds. It could have went on a little bit longer, I think, but overall, it was still a good match. It established Emma as a babyface, and it was interesting to see that it was a good guy versus good guy match because the audience was split. Let's go Emma, let's go Natty champs. In the beginning of the match, it was a good, well thought out match. It was the feeling out process at the the first few minutes, and then out came all these submission holds. That I think it established itself as a great match. And Emma is the #1 contender for Paige's championship. I don't know if I see Emma beating Paige for the title at any time soon. I don't know if anyone on the NXT roster, even though there's a good line of divas on NXT, I don't see anyone beating Paige at this point on NXT. Even though Emma is the #1 contender, it just kind of feels like, she's been there, she's just there, and now she's in a match. I guess a lot of it had to do with the fact that she has been injured for a while and never really competed in the ring. And that's what sucks. The downfall, sometimes it's there when someone gets injured. The momentum is not the same. So she needs to have a little bit more momentum going into her championship match. And this match did prove it, but she needs to now work on more in-ring work before she gets the chance to face face Paige for the NXT Women's Championship to establish herself as the #1 contender. That's what I think needs to happen on the show. Also, we saw a sing-off between Aidan English and Cassidy, and I thought this was the segment on the show. It was the best thing that happened on NXT, I think, in my opinion. And I really, like I said, it was great. What happened was that Cassidy was the winner of the sing-off, and I like how, this was all played out. Aidan English sang an operatic, it was a bit short, and Cassidy came back with a longer performance, and, he was like, not sure at first. He was getting voice cracks when he was trying to sing at first, and then when he sang, he was a little bit shaky at the beginning, but he nailed it at the end. And I think overall, and then all of a sudden, the fans, start to, cheer him. I thought he was really good in his singing. And then, round 2 happened. The rebuttal from Aidan English. And then we saw Cassidy sing again. His little rendition of My Girl was You Suck. And that was really great. And then Aidan English attacks Cassidy from behind. I thought that was a great, entertaining segment, like I said. And now it's about time that the NXT done something right with the heel, because heels on NXT, like Natalya and Aidan English, really got the pop from the crowd where it's a lot of cheers. And I think that that's the downside of heels on NXT, that the NXT universe normally chants, yays more than boos to the heels. So we need to establish the heels as heels. I think NXT done a really good job establishing Aidan English as a heel, and now he's starting to go over with the fans. as that heel. Now he's getting the heat. And a lot of it had to do with Cassidy being one of the fan favorites on NXT. So, like I said, that was a smart decision, establishing now in English as a heel and Cassidy as a babyface. And this will benefit both guys going forth in their career in hopes to get on Raw and SmackDown, where they need to establish them as the characters as they are. Cassidy as the babyface, Aidan English as the heel. Put them together now in a feud, and it looks like it's going to continue in a future one-on-one match with these guys. I don't know if Enzo Amore is going to play a role in this rivalry, but we'll see what happens in the weeks to come on NXT. And the main event was Leo Kruger versus Sami Zayn in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I thought this was a interesting match, to say the least. Normally in 2 out of 3 falls, I would like to see the heel gain the first fall, and the baby face has to, work his way up to get to the top, get that second fall, and then win at the third. That didn't happen, and I'm surprised that didn't happen. I thought, that would have, here's the thing. I'll put it this way. That was a mistake they made in the last 2 out of 3 falls match that happened. We saw the good guy get the first fall, the bad guy get the second fall, and the third fall went to the good guy. Usually that's the case out of these 2 out of 3 falls matches, that, it's really flawed in that sense. So it was interesting to see the good guy get 2 falls, and the bad guy never got any. It almost feels like, they're treating the bad guy like crap, but it wasn't really the case, because Leo Kruger was really dominant in this match, so at least NXT is not treating him like full crap. You probably get what I mean. So with that being said, Sami Zayn won the match, 2 falls in a row, and it was interesting because, like I said, Leo Kruger was dominant in that match. Sami Zayn had to crawl his way to victory. He got the first fall quick with the big boot to the corner, and then the second fall was via submission hold. It was interesting to see how that played out, because Leo Kruger was about to go for his finishing maneuver. Sami Zayn countered to the flatliner and locked in this submission hold, something we never seen before from Sami Zayn. I liked those parts in that match, and Leo Kruger tapped out. Like I said, I'm 50-50 split on the construction of that match, because the good guy got the 2 falls and the bad guy never got any. Questionable, I think, in my opinion, but overall, I think when you really think about it, it was almost the right way to go, because it seems like NXT wants to establish Sami Zayn as the #1 contender for the NXT Championship upcoming in the near future when he faces Bo Dallas. And I think, it will make the fans get behind Sami Zayn more after this match, and we'll see what happens if indeed he does get a shot at Bo Dallas' NXT Championship. What did you think of last night's NXT? I'm 50-50 split on it, but I would like to hear your opinion. So comment below and let me know. And you can also follow MRB Wrestling Reviews on Facebook, on Twitter. Also subscribe to us on YouTube. And to a final message to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.